Plaintiff Cynthia Shepard says the defendant was married to her father, despite the fact that she's only 4 years older than Cynthia. Cynthia claims her father died a year ago, and the circumstances surrounding his death were extremely suspicious. And almost immediately after he died, the defendant took all of his property, so she's suing. Defendant Tiffany Shepard says Cynthia never liked her because of her age, but Cynthia's father was always into younger women. Tiffany says after her husband died, Cynthia and her family had her investigated for his death, so she's countersuing for emotional distress.
Start with you.
Your Honor, my father and I were very close up until the day that he passed away. He was, sorry.
Give us some tissue. Okay.
He was very nice man. He was ex-military. He was a drill sergeant in the Army. And he looked out for me. He's a great guy. Unfortunately, he married someone that didn't seem to care too much about him.
Why do you conclude that?
Well, Tiffany's only 4 years older than me. I had moved out to go to school in a different city. When I came back, I found out that my father was married to Tiffany, and I have only met her once before then. I came and moved back with my father. He was still living by himself. Okay. I never seen Tiffany around. She only came around when she wanted, money or different things.
How do you know?
That's the only time I ever saw her.
Go ahead, ma'am. But I think it's unfair for you to say that his wife, his widow, didn't care about him without you having any substantial facts.
Right, I do apologize for that.
Sir, for her to say that I didn't care about him, I had to pay for his funeral by myself. They didn't help me. I had to scrap junk and all kind of stuff. I got laid off in October. My husband passed in January. I asked them if they could help me, but you know what they were busy doing? Trying to have me investigated.
Okay, sir, we'll get into that. That's not the truth. I had nothing to do with any investigation.
Did you help pay for the funeral?
Well, at the time, I didn't because my brothers they're more affluent than me. I had trouble.
They helped pay?
They were supposed to. I let them handle it. I don't know if they did or not. I didn't handle anything to do with the funeral. I lived with my father for 7 or 8 years. Well, actually, I lived with him most of my life. So when he passed away, I was having a very hard time dealing with it. He was, my world, everything. Mm-hmm. So I couldn't handle funerals and burying him. My father died unexpectedly. He was very healthy. He died on very suspicious circumstances.
Like what? Like what?
Well, he was an older gentleman. He was over 60 years old. He had you have your rituals. And his ritual was to always, come home, go to bed in his own bed. The night that he died was the first night that I know of in my entire life that he did not spend the night in his house, in his bed. We had gone to dinner, and Tiffany came with me and my brother and my father to go to dinner. Tiffany was supposed to be on her way home, driving his truck home. Mm-hmm. Tiffany came and said that her purse was missing, that someone had somehow stolen her purse and her keys. Mm-hmm. My father said, they looked around for a little bit. My father said, this is weird. He had to take Tiffany home, and that's the last I ever saw him.
Did you have the police investigate?
No, sir. I had nothing to do with any police investigation. I told my brother that I was suspicious about things, and he said it wouldn't bring my father back and not to pursue it.
Did the police investigate?
The first I've heard of any investigation is when I was told what I was being countersued for.
Let me hear from you, ma'am.
Yes, sir. First of all, the night in question, what she's talking about, he wanted them to be a little closer to me. She never liked the fact that we were married because I'm only 4 years older than her. She made that clear. All his wives, I'm his third wife. Every last one of his wives was younger than him. He just so happened to like young women. Let me get that out there like that. And then second of all, about his death, we had intimate relations that night, so they knew really what it was in the first place. And I felt real bad having to share that information with her and her brother, but I did. Okay, and then he had to undergo another autopsy because I couldn't even get no information about insurance or anything like that.
Why couldn't you?
Because of the investigation that was going on. You can't get any information about insurance.
What
and stuff
was
like
the
that.
Investigation?
About how did he die? Maybe
Who asked for they investigated you?
It was his children.
No, sir.
Asked to investigate you?
Yes.
Your Honor, excuse me.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. She only admitted it already.
So why do you think they investigated her?
Because they never lived together. The very next day, Tiffany was at our house, getting information to get her benefits. They never lived together.
Hold on.
He lived
never
with me.
lived together?
Not in his house, not where I was there. And I lived with him for over 7 years.
You believe that the family...
I know they did, because he had to have a second autopsy performed, and the same thing came back again. They even
Did the police question you?
Yes.
And
Based on what?
Based on allegations.
Go ahead, man.
Anyway, for her to say I didn't care about my husband, why would I go through what I went through to bury him? It's ridiculous, because none of them helped me, and I paid for the urns. I still gave them an urn, and they didn't ever help me pay for nothing, not a red dime. Her brother told me to go to the church, ask the church to help you bury him. I had to borrow money from my mom, from my sister, and from my godmama. Y'all didn't help me with nothing, and you stole money and the phone. How could you take that phone? You know what you did. Don't sit here and act all
She's suing
whatever.
you for stealing
You are
property.
crazy.
Let me hear about her allegation that you stole property. Young lady?
During the course of their marriage, I lived with my father. We moved into 3 different homes. Just me and my dad. I worked and went to school. I purchased things for the home. We shared in the purchasing of our household items. Shortly after my father's death, it was less than a month, Your Honor, I came home from work, February 2009, and I opened the door and everything was gone. I found a note from Tiffany saying that she had probate papers and had come and take everything that she thought was my father's, which I kind of understand. But she also took things in the kitchen and things that also belonged to me. She didn't let me know she was coming. She didn't ask for anything of my father's. She took what she wanted, and I was left without my dad. I was struggling to pay the rent. He was behind on. He never had any money. So I was looking at having nothing, no place to live.
Whatever property your father purchased while legally married was joint property, whether they lived together or not.
But sir, I helped him purchase things as well.
Okay, so that...
I paid all of his bills, but the rent and electricity, he was behind in those bills.
And it was still joint property with her.
Even if I helped him purchase it?
Pardon me?
Even if I helped purchase it?
Yes.
Okay.
Because as you say, he contributed to the purchase.
Right.
And any money that he contributes to purchasing property, it is joint property, because the law presumes that either she's being denied money because he goes and purchases stuff. Some husbands purchase a bunch of stuff, never tell their wives, and they can't say, well, it's all mine.
Right.
No, that's why the law makes room for that.
Right.
Some wives put money toward the household. They say, here, honey, pay the bills. And he goes and buys property. That's her property too.
Right.
And that's why the law makes room for that, regardless of who put in how much.
Well, Your Honor, I worked most of my adult life and bought purchases into the home as well. I barely saw Tiffany. I didn't know she wanted anything out of the home. So I didn't know at the time it was hers. I didn't know what the law stated. I did look it up afterwards. It said he died without a will. She gets 50% and the descendants get equally divided among the rest. So I did have some claim to, even if it was a small claim, to some of my dad's property, and I have nothing, as well as I'm missing items I purchased on my own for myself.
Did you file your probate claim?
No, sir. I wasn't there at the probate claim, but my name is on the paper.
I didn't hear you. Why?
I wasn't there. Like I said, I was suffering a great deal. I couldn't handle anything really.
How long ago did he pass?
It was last year.
And you were able to look up the law?
That was like last week.
Right. So why couldn't you file your claim last week?
I didn't know I could file it this late, and it had already been filed by Tiffany. I didn't know I could add to that.
Did you list the children on your petition on when you were?
Yes, sir. He didn't have anything. We didn't have anything. We didn't have, we didn't have no real property. Only thing that we do have is a home that we purchased that we've been working on, which she knows that, a trailer that we bought, and we put it on some land, and we've been fixing up.
The property that she took is not listed on the probate papers at all.
Okay.
And I have a police report.
Did you appeal that to probate court?
Like I said, I don't know the law. I didn't know I could do that.
All right. Well, I'm not going to get into this because I'm not awarding you monies for probate. I'm determining whether she stole from you. And as such, I'm determining that she did not steal steal anything that you owned. So therefore, I'm dismissing your claim. Okay. With regard to the emotional distress, you're suing because of the allegation that caused an investigation. Can you prove that she had anything to do with it? Is there a police report where it says she gave a statement to the police?
No, sir, I don't have any of that.
All right,
paperwork.
well, I'm going to have to dismiss your claim as well. Sorry to hear about the loss of your husband and the loss of your dad. If you need grief counseling, I think you all should get it.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Have a good day.
She knows what she did, and she knows how she acted when he passed away and what they really put me through, and what I had to go through to bury my husband, and they wasn't there for me, and I tried to be there for them.
Well, Tiffany was never there for anyone, by the way. Not even my father. He was seeing other women. She's hardly ever around.